Hello and welcome. My name is Cassandra Jaguar Alvarado. I am a professor and associate dean at the University of Texas at Austin. I'm also proud to serve as the chair of the board of SERU North America. And I'm thrilled to be here today to present to you my session, The Kids Are Not All Right, Using SERU Data to Understand Program-Specific Wellbeing. My goal for today is share with you a little bit about a session that we did at the University of Texas at Austin to help faculty and staff specifically understand what was going on with students around student well-being, particularly in the COVID area, and to make really good use of the amazingly rich data that we get from the SERU survey. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time chatting with you about that today, and then also giving you some examples of some of the analyses and presentations that we did. So really, the first thing I want to start by sharing is that we had a challenge that many of you faced in your own institutions, which was how to really help our faculty and staff understand student well-being in the COVID era. I think there's a lot of information that faculty were taking in from their experiences in their classes. It was being triangulated by data that we had from academic advisors on their interactions with students. But what we really wanted to do is to make sure that we weren't relying only on anecdote to help our teams deeply understand the lived experience of our students in this COVID area. And more importantly, we'd spent a lot of time and effort deploying the 2020 COVID SERU survey, as well as the 2021 undergraduate survey. And we really wanted to make sure that we spent time and energy on those analyses to put them to good use and not just take an opportunity as administrators or decision makers to look briefly at the data and affirm what we already suspected was happening, is that students were deeply struggling. So what did we do? We took a series of the wellness-related questions from both the 2020 COVID and the 2021 undergraduate survey, and we did some analyses. And rather than focusing our analyses only at the university level, undergraduate level, we actually decided to drill down deeper into our academic colleges and schools, and then into department and program level, where we had sufficient data, sufficient response rates to make those conclusions meaningful. And after we spent time doing those analyses, we decided to take the opportunity to do some professional development with our faculty and with our staff to really help them understand major trends. And by presenting the information, not just at the university level, but more specifically down at the college level or at the department level, I think we were really able to attract an audience of individuals who were interested in learning, but also to really get into the meat of what different disciplines were experiencing. I am a faculty in the College of Communication, and the things that our students were experiencing were different in some cases from what students in, for example, engineering or natural sciences, architecture, or nursing were experiencing. So really having that opportunity to take the data and make it meaningful and make the analyses meaningful to something that happens at a department or college level. So what I want to do for you now is just briefly show you a few slides from our professional development for faculty. This is in no way the full presentation, but it's really just an opportunity to give you ideas about how you might consider using data in a similar way by distilling things down to the department or college level. So this was actually a presentation on supporting students in distress. We were very deliberate about naming it such, because that was something that our faculty had reported, is that they were witnessing and experiencing students in distress and they weren't sure what to do. So part of our strategy was, one, to affirm faculty's belief that yes, you really are seeing some students in distress, to give them data to help to understand what we knew about those trends, and then specifically to focus on strategies on how to assist students. So for example, We started with a presentation by me as the Associate Dean. We brought in our care counselor, which is an embedded mental health professional that lives and works in the College of Communication, and then wrapped it up with a presentation from our Assistant Dean, who's responsible for advising and student support. And that's the area that helps connect students with other resources, not just mental health resources, but maybe financial resources, academic resources, etc. We then moved into helping our faculty specifically understand some of the trends that we saw in the SERU data. So we took some of the questions about, have you been bothered by the following problems in the past 2 weeks? That was a specific set of questions that came out of the SERU, and affirmed for our faculty that yes, our students in the College of Communication were feeling nervous, anxious, or on edge, had little interest or pleasure in doing things, felt down, hopeless, or depressed. And again, I'm not sharing these data so that everyone sort of panics about what's happening, but really rather to reaffirm what our faculty were seeing and experiencing in their own classes and in their own experiences with students, and to say, yes, this is not just what you're saying, this is also what students are reporting to us on this survey. We also highlighted and isolated common financial hardships that students had experienced. Unexpected increases in living expenses, unexpected increases in technology, and reduction of income from parents or guardians. And specifically by naming these financial hardships, we were then able to direct our faculty and staff to the resources that we have, our Student Emergency Fund and other emergency technology funds, our HERF funding, that we're able to help faculty particularly know, yes, students are seeing this, and yes, there's a solution in a way that we can assist them along the way. We also mentioned students having concerns about whether their money would cover the cost of housing and whether or not they would run out of food before they had opportunity to buy any more. So again, by specifically naming these resources, we could then make the appropriate referrals to our, again, Student Emergency Fund, to our food bank on campus, a variety of different specific resources. But I think the real key is actually the data. It's not just the referral step, but making sure that folks knew and were aware of the data. And that so many of our students were experiencing concerns about their ability to pay for their resources. So part of our strategy was to help faculty by understanding, yes, this is happening, giving them an opportunity to know and understand the resources, and then help them to help students make a plan on how to use the available resources if, yes, what they were seeing in our data was actually happening also in their classrooms. We talked specific strategies about connecting resources on campus, our wellness workshops, our short-term counseling, office hours, referral assistance, a variety of things. And again, tried to connect the real life data about what we're seeing with SERU with the actual steps that we were trying to get our faculty to do, particularly with students who they saw in crisis. And importantly, to again, immediately make sure that faculty had a connection. Yes, you're seeing students in crisis, and yes, this is specifically how you can support them. So by connecting those two pieces, we're really trying to bring to life the reality that yes, students are struggling, and yes, we have ways that faculty and staff can really be connected to solving the problem. And by putting a face to the name, we were able also, I think, to really engage specifically with faculty who are worried about their referrals going out into the world and never knowing that there was a person on the other end to help make it better. We also talked with faculty about barriers, some of the barriers that they have had to helping students who they perceived in crisis. And it's pretty clear from the data that I showed you earlier, our students were really struggling with some of the major dimensions of well-being. And so we wanted to make sure that we were also connecting the data to addressing any of the barriers that might be in the way of faculty helping individuals. Lastly, we also mentioned a number of different resources that often faculty don't think about, degree plan advising, relationship building, our coaching for students on early warning, various care-related strategies, and how we use a care-based model. And then lastly, we wanted to connect faculty to this idea of how do we support students by believing them when they say they are struggling. And I think, again, by connecting the SERU data, we were really able to help demonstrate that when a student comes to a faculty member and says that they're struggling, that yes, statistically speaking, our data support that, and that they should really take into consideration what a student is asking for and the kind of emergency support that they might need. So how can you use SERU data to improve well-being? So first and foremost, I would say, let's get our SERU data out of the university level and not be afraid to do some analyses down at the college or department level, because really connecting that to individuals and particularly to the faculty in those disciplines, we're able to help bring the issue closer to home. I also think that by presenting the data with recommendations and concrete steps on how to assist students, it's not just a presentation on how much students are struggling or all of the challenges to well-being that they're having, but it's making that direct connection to students are having financial concerns. Here's how to make a referral. Students are having mental health concerns. Here's the individuals and how we can help them. It's that concrete action that I think makes such a big difference. And it also helps us examine key trends by key demographics. There's so much more that we can do with SERU data. And I think one of the most important things we need to do is not be afraid to take our data out of the plans and spaces where administrators use it and really put it back into the hands of our faculty, advisors, and other staff who meet day to day with students and who can really help make meaning to all these data. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. It's been such a pleasure visiting with you. Thanks very much, and hook 'em horns.